I am the program director for George Washington University's Sustainable Landscapes program and landscape design program. I've been a practicing landscape designer for over 30 years. I also have a private practice called Natural Resources Design, and we focus specifically on creating landscapes that feature native plants and value all of our natural resources available to us. So water, air, good soils, great trees, and good plants. When I first started doing landscaping, I actually started off as a landscape laborer. And so I worked for local nurseries around here, putting in gardens, putting in landscapes, became a landscape foreman, put in a lot of my share of invasive plant materials early on in my career, and it's been through my deep interest of providing tools to help the environment that has attracted me to the almost exclusive use of native plants. I figured out about 20 years ago or so that traditional landscape practices were actually detrimental to the environment. So I went back to graduate school to figure out how can I actually use landscape as a tool for good, as a tool for providing a healthy environment for us all to be a part of and live with and enjoy. And so that's how I got attracted to the use of native plants and using local plant communities to design the gardens that are of that place. I marvel in the beauty of, the combination of native grasses and a couple flowers coming up through that. I am totally enamored with the interaction between the Baltimore checker spot butterfly and the turtlehead chelone. I have a commitment that in every garden I design, I use chelone or turtlehead, I always plant a legacy tree because I'm also an arborist. And so my legacy tree of choice is either white oak or swamp white oak in this area, because I want to plant something that's going to last not just 5 years or 10 years, but 100 or 200 years if taken care of correctly. I actually want to use plants as a mechanism to enhance the environments that you and I are in every single day. I mean, I was a kid that spent a lot of time exploring and poking around in creeks and woods, and and a lot of our kids these days, they don't have access to that. A lot of my practice right now is about teaching others how to do that, because I'm a professor, but also doing that in my own design practice. So always providing ample opportunity for people to see the excitement of a hummingbird coming to a cardinal flower, or finding a monarch caterpillar on a butterfly weed or swamp milkweed or something like that. I mean, there's really not that much more that's more exciting than that. I mean, I guess you could play on computers all day, but it's a lot more fun to be outdoors. What is that sensation like to climb up a tree? Okay, so maybe I had that sensation, but now I live near Washington, D.C. or in Washington, D.C., and it's not as available to everybody any longer. So what can I do to contribute to have in 10, 15, 20 years, have another kid climb up a tree or sit underneath a tree and read a book, That's a goal for me. I was working with a project in Herndon, Virginia. It was a very modern house, and my proposal to them is take all the grass out of your front yard. All they had was a big grass lawn and a great big silver maple. And I said, silver maple's dying. The grass is like a lot of maintenance, going to look at. Let's just create an entire native grass garden. So we took out all the turf grass. We went back in and we planted switchgrass and little blue stem and broom sedge, and it was really gorgeous. And they were cited by the city for taking out the turf grass or not having it was considered a messy landscape. I think that was about 13, 14 years ago. And about 3 years ago, I got an email from my client saying, guess what? We just got an award from the city for having a water-less garden, a garden that required no care, wasn't turf grass, and required almost no water. And so it's amazing to see how things have changed just in the last decade. It's stunning, actually. It's always a little bit hard when you're a little bit ahead of your time and you're doing things like, my company was one of the first companies in this area installing rain gardens, and we learned a lot of lessons when we started doing that, and now we're doing really high functioning rain gardens and stormwater systems for small spaces that work really well, are very educational and very, very important for the overall well-being. Why wouldn't I want a gorgeous perennial plantings or native grasses, something interesting in my front yard? Why not put vegetables in your front yard with those plants? I mean, why not create companion plantings that all knit together so you can go out and get yourself a zucchini and see the butterflies flying to the, to the hardy ageratum? Like, why not? Now we can.